There we go. From underneath the dock, I think. Came up and slurped it. It's a good fish. It's a good fish. It's a big fish right here. I can pull and drag. Fit my fist in the fish's mouth. That's how big this fish is. All right, people. Welcome to Cross Country Bank Angler. I'm back at it again today, trying to catch a few fish. I'm out here at this lake. I filmed a video here back in the spring, finesse fishing for bass and bluegill off of some docks, which are further off that way. We're at a different part of the lake, one of the kind of the upstream end of the lake today. So we're going to try a new section of the lake, and then maybe we'll move down there later on if it doesn't work out down here. So as you can see, we have overcast conditions today. It is dreary, it's gray. We had some rain come through in the morning. You know, a few bands of rain. Could be some more coming in later today, but the forecast I looked at, you know, the chances are kind of receding, going down for us to get more. So, but you know, we've got these overcast conditions, you know, a little bit of wind out here today. You know, this is a system that came up from the south. This is I think it was you know, the tail end of a tropical storm or a hurricane. So, you know, overcast conditions sometimes can be good for fishing in my experience, you know, especially like in the summer. But you know, sometimes it seems like it doesn't really make much of a difference. Overcast conditions do give you some advantages. You know, there's just less light penetration in the water. So what that means is that, you know, the fish, you know, most predatory fish have pretty good eyesight. So when there's a lot of light penetration, they can see your lure pretty well, and they can inspect it a little more thoroughly sometimes. You know, if they're not sure what it is and they want to just make a decision on if they're going to eat it or not. And that, you know, more light gives them a better look at it, and they can, you know, tell that it's fake a little more easily and break off, you know, break off the attack. But when there isn't as much light, the fish can't see the lure as well, and they're more likely to be fooled into thinking that it's something real. The plan today, you know, we were fishing kind of slow techniques, casting to the docks last time we were here, and, you know, very small finesse type baits. So the goal today is to try to find like a reaction bite out here, you know, fishing some moving baits, some more aggressive lures, and see if we can hook into, you know, really any species today. You know, I'm not necessarily hunting for a giant, that there are some big fish in here. Yeah, we could catch some bass. I know there's, you know, we know that there's nice bluegill in here as well. There's also some crappie in here, some decent crappie. Those are the three species I'm kind of anticipating possibly encountering today. Probably bass, most likely. Without further ado, I'm going to get rigged up and start casting around this kind of shallow end of the lake. You never know until you throw. So, let's go. All right, people, so even behind us, there's a couple of little areas where we could do some sort of short casts. So I'm going to start off with a small lure. Maybe there's like a little bluegill or bass or something kind of lurking in this flooded grass here. Got the bait finesse set up here. And I've got this little crankbait tied on, this little square bill. It's a CRANKBAIT. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head right now. But I really haven't fished it that much, kind of like a fire tiger pattern. You know, we're using a bright color today because it's pretty cloudy. And I'm gonna see if we can get something to hit this. You know, something this small could catch a bunch of different species. I'm just gonna kind of work it along the edges here, make some short casts around here, and maybe, you know, see if there's something kind of lurking back here to start off with. This is a pretty lightweight lure, so it might be a little tricky to learn to get the casting going on this setup here to start off with. Might have to kind of get used to it a little bit. Normally I wouldn't, you know, you can see, if you saw before, I had it tied with a snap. And that's mainly because there's a chance we might switch colors here later on. All right, people, I made a cast here when I wasn't recording, and we got our first fish. We knocked this little crankbait into a stump or a little branch, and this bass went for it. It's a pretty good largemouth. He was pulling drag and everything. So it looks like we might have the kind of reaction bite we were hoping for. First fish of the day is a nice bass here. It's probably like a pound or so. Wow. Well, that's nice. That's a good. Didn't take long for us to hook into something out here today. That's a pretty fish here. We got kind of stained, tannin stained water, that dark water, but the it is not like a lot of sediment in it. So this fish has got some good color. Kind of a darker fish compared to one you would find in like muddy water. Dark green bass here. Little lures can catch big fish sometimes. Just depends on, if you're imitating what they're eating. There he goes. Pretty bass there. Great start to our day. Let's keep casting that little crank around. See if there's anything else out there that wants it. Oh, something tried to swing on it, people, and missed. Well, we tried to tune it in. I think we overcompensated. It seems like it's going in the other direction now. There's a fish. Another bass. About the same as the other one. Sweet. Wow, look at that, people. That's about pretty similar to that last one. Beautiful fish. Well, I think we found something that they want. Crankbait. They're hitting this little crankbait. That's a pretty fish. Look at the tail on that. Big tail. Pretty. Dark fins on this fish. Like I said, this fish is colored up for this tannin stained water. Well, it seems like there are fish in this area for sure, obviously. Thank you, buddy. And they're liking that little Strike King crankbait. Yeah, it's diving down now. Diving so far that it's catching a bunch of weeds. So I'm gonna retrieve with the rod tip up. So it doesn't get too bogged down. This isn't like a hard bottom out here, so it's not perfect for knocking into the very bottom. But these fish have just been hitting it, with the paws. They're not like, well, that first one reacted to it bouncing off something, but that second one, kind of more random. There's a fish. Thumped it. Felt him thump it. Wow. Felt that fish thump it. Got it pretty good too. Look how he ate that crankbait. All right. That lure has some sharp, sticky hooks. Bass number 3, folks. Not quite as big as the others, but good fish to catch. All right, one last look at bass number 3 of the day. Appreciate you, bud. Get on out of here. I know you want to go. All right. You know, this is the first day that little crankbait has caught anything for me. So, I mean, I haven't really fished it much, but it seems like we found a good situation for it. And that one, you know, that was once again kind of knocking it into things. That wood over there. That's how we convinced that fish to hit it. Pretty fun method. Fun method of catching some fish out here. Even though that's really what they're meant to do, is bounce off the cover. There's a fish. Almost as soon as it hit the water. Feels pretty good. Another bass. Bass number 4, people. We're on a little pattern here with this little crankbait. This guy took me into the weeds. But we can get him. We got our muck boots on. All right, got a little side salad with this one, but 4 bass, people. We didn't take long at all to start catching them today. You know, this place, it can be a little hard to predict sometimes, but I think the conditions today are in our favor. Here we go. Man, these are some pretty fish out of this lake. Good colors on them. Just that classic kind of olive green. Beautiful fish. Beautiful bass. They are just amazing fish to catch, in my opinion. There's a reason bass fishing is so popular. And part of it is because, you know, you can find bass in almost all of the continental US. Let's get him on out back where he belongs. But like I was saying, you know, there's a lot of people, or a lot of reasons that bass fishing is popular. And, you know, one of them is that you can just find bass in a lot of places in the United States. They live in almost all 48, you know, continental states, or probably all of them. But, you know, part of it is that they're just fun fish. You know, they're easy to handle. You know, they're kind of more docile out of the water for some reason, and they just hit so many different lures, and they just have a tenacity to them that I think is easy to admire. And yeah, millions of people go out and try to catch these fish every year. All right, people, so got my raincoat on, kind of batten down the hatches here. Got a tornado warning. Sky's gotten a little darker. Been hearing lots of thunder. So kind of just gonna try to wait it out here and see what happens. If it starts raining or not, or something like that, I want to be ready. If it starts getting blustery or windy, you know, or you know, start hearing that roar of a tornado, we need to be ready to move. But you know, I see like a little cabin over here, so that's probably where we would go if I did think that like a tornado was imminent or something. But all right, people, I have taken refuge in a little cabin I mentioned earlier. Just gonna see. I don't think there's a tornado coming, but you know, I know there's that tornado warning. Well, I was mostly just gonna do it just in case for a few minutes here, see if this band of rain passes and, you know, in the thunderstorm, you know, the thunder and lightning kind of dies down. It seemed like it was getting closer, so this is where we're at right now. Just trying to play it safe. Got a little cot in here, rocking chair, wood stove, a lot of the essentials. All right, people, so it's been raining for like 45 minutes, probably. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and zip my raincoat up here real quickly. But the thunder is starting to move off. It's starting to get, you know, quieter, further away. So in the interest of being efficient with our time, I decided to go ahead and come back out. Got the medium bait casting set up here, and I'm going to be throwing this Man's Baby One minus. It's like a ultra shallow crankbait or like wake bait. So basically kind of a bigger version of what we were already using. Maybe it can attract a bigger fish if I don't hook my own jacket with it. Okay. Of course, right as I get back out here, it starts raining heavier. You know, we're in waterproof mode now, so audio might not be the greatest, but see if there's another bass or something out here that wants to eat this crankbait. It's ultra shallow diver, similar color to that miniature one we were using. But maybe, you know, the size is going to be an important factor here, and this is just going to be too big. If you raise your rod tip, you can fish just like a wake bait, just underneath the surface. So we're going to be making some casts like that, and then more kind of normal crankbait style casts. Here's a fish. We were letting it die that time. And it's our smallest fish of the day once we get to the bigger lure. Isn't that funny? How that happens. We took a swipe at it as it was going through that cover, I think. It's just a little patch of logs and stuff right there that is holding some bass. There we go, on the surface. Wow. That one came up and slammed it, people. There we go. Nicked my thumb a little bit with the hooks. That was a touch and go moment there. Bass 6, people. They are hitting good today in the rain. As long as it, you know, the lightning's, the thunder is moving off, so I'm gonna keep fishing. All right, let's get this fish out of here. Appreciate you, bud. Good rainy day bass fishing. Get on out of here, crazy fish. There we go, near the surface. Went for the cover. Typical. What's he on now? Oh, he's off, he's off. Oh, he had a stick with him for a second there. Another cool hit. We are on the fish today. We are on the bass. This is one of the nicer ones of the day right here, folks. All right, people. Here we go. That's, what, number 7? One of the bigger ones today. Gave a good fight, hit near the surface. Cool. Cool catch there. These crankbaits, that's the key today, it seems like. It's a shallow, that ultra shallow crankbait, that man's baby one, it's doing it. Get him into the deeper water. There we go. You may be wondering, you know, what's this, you know, how are you fishing this? What are you doing? How are you retrieving it? And it's really a lot like fishing any other crankbait. It's just this thing runs shallower. So it's a good lure if you are a bank angler like myself. You know, you don't really have a use for some of those, you know, deeper diving crankbaits. You know, it's a risk that you're gonna get snagged with something with those big trebles. That's just a fact. But this one that runs a little shallower, you know, your chance of snagging is a little less because it just runs a little shallower. And yeah, this man's, you know, it floats really well. It's very buoyant, so it comes up out of things better than a lot of other crankbaits, I think. So we were just reeling it pretty fast and then pausing, and then every now and then you can raise your rod tip like this and do that slower waking retrieve too, where it's just right under the surface. And yeah, you saw how that one, you know, there's a couple of fish just came up unglued from the bottom and went for it. So, and yeah, we're just casting near the cover, near the bank. Another thing about this lure, it does have a rattle to it. Not super loud, but decently loud. So that's gonna also help, you know, call in the fish from a little further away. Can be a good option with stained water. And you know, when you're doing like the shallow wake, you can kind of every now and then just pause it and let it float up. And as it gets closer to you, you can speed up and it'll stay near the surface. So you can kind of lower your rod tip as the lure gets closer to you when you're doing that waking retrieve. Burn, 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 pause. There we go. Right in front of me. Right in front of me. Another one on the baby 1 minus, people. I think that one followed it for quite a ways. Let's get him out of here. Thank you, fish. All right, people, so I was making my way to the dock and I came across this other spot that might have some potential. It's a fish. Something hit it. I didn't even move it. I think it's a bluegill. Yes, it is. All right. Different species. I was picking out a backlash. I was just letting it sink. This little miniature crankbait, it sinks into the water. It doesn't float back up. And this bluegill just saw it drifting down and went for it. Not particularly big, but I got a picture of him at least. All right, people, we are back here at the dock, you know, complex. Getting low on light. Don't have too much more time to fish, but gonna keep on making a few more casts here. Maybe we can pick up another fish. You never know until you throw, right? That's why I say that. You never know until you throw. There we go. From underneath the dock, I think. Came up and slurped it. It's a good fish. It's a good fish. Pull and drag. This is gonna be the biggest of the day, I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, it's a good one. Whoa. Oh yeah, it's a good one. Oh my gosh. It's a good fish. Stay hooked, buddy. Oh yeah, that's a tank. Oh. People, look at that bass. PB for the year for sure, might be my PB of all time. Let's get this guy unhooked. Wow, right from under the dock. Slurped it on the surface. There we go. Oh, that's a beast. That's a straight up beast, people. Wow. All right, we got to get a weight on this one. What a monster. All right, give it some water before we do the weigh. This is a big fish. This is a big bass, we have to take care of it. Beautiful fish. All right, let's get the scale fired up. 5 pounds even. Let's give it some more water. Look at that, people. That is a beautiful fish. That's old big right there, if there ever was one. That's old big. It's the biggest fish I've caught in a while. No doubt about it. All right, thank you, Big Mama. Thank you for that bite. Let's get you out of here. This is a big fish right here. I can fit my fist in the fish's mouth. That's how big this fish is. One last look, people. One last look at this giant. That is a beautiful fish. Beautiful largemouth bass. Love to see it. Fat, healthy bass too. Fat and healthy. Thank you, Big Mama. Thank you, old big. It's always good to see you. And this is a good time of year when you often show up. There he goes. Or there she goes. Those big fish are usually female. I made that cast right to the edge of the dock. And we just barely started moving it and she just slurped it. Very light, very casual bite on that man's baby one. Oh man, people. Running an encounter with a big bass like that is not something that anybody should take lightly. That is a truly humbling experience to catch a fish of that proportion, that magnitude. Fish actually broke my scale, broke the gripper on my scale. See that? That's not how it's supposed to be. I think with that catch, with that encounter with that glorious animal that we are privileged to share this planet with, share this ecosystem with, I'm gonna call it a day and go home happy. Because wow, I mean, what a day. What a day. You know, we taught you guys how to fish with shallow crankbaits. You know, that little Strike King miniature crankbait, and then the man's baby one minus, that ultra shallow diver. We just made that perfect cast right to the edge of that dock. Old Big was lurking underneath the dock. And man, when I felt that drag ripping, I haven't felt the drag rip on that reel very many times, but I knew it was a giant. I've only caught a handful of fish in that weight class before. What an experience. You know, there's so many, you know, I've talked to some today about, you know, why bass fishing is so popular. And you just, there's nothing like that. There's no other thing like that. You know, catching a big fish is just something unique and precious about it. Most likely if you're, you know, watching this channel, then you fish at least some. So you know what I'm talking about if you've caught a big one. At this point, you know, I'm kind of speechless. You know, I'm gonna let the footage speak for itself from now on. You know, don't take these fish for granted. Don't take the experience for granted. Don't take the ecology, the outdoors for granted. You know, we share this this space with beautiful animals like that. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so glad I came out here today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We're going to be posting videos on a weekly basis that are fishing related. So subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you'll know every time that I upload. And we're just going to keep turning up. We're going to keep catching big fish. So I appreciate you. And take it easy.